The Canes take on the Pens, 7 o'clock Eastern puck drop on Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. Pittsburgh's minus $1.20, total 6 goals. Tristan Jarry expected in the net for Pittsburgh. Antti Ranta for Carolina. I'm 5-1 in my last 6 college basketball tier package bets on my website, and I'll include a link for that package in the description section below. Now, the Canes have hit a bit of a rough patch here. They lost 5 out of their last 6, and they're still going to work without Pacioretty, Teravainen, and Andre Case. They're also having a tough time getting the puck in the net this year. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in the league in scoring. They're facing a Pittsburgh team who does a nice job keeping the puck out of the net at home. These guys are in the top 10 in fewest home goals allowed. And they're also getting very solid starts out of Tristan Jarry. The goaltender's 8-3 through 11 starts with a .914 save percentage. And when it comes to offensive production, no team scoring more goals a game at home than Pittsburgh. Sidney Crosby leads the team in goals and points. Meanwhile, Rickard Rakell's a +11 along with 9 goals. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Pittsburgh's last 5 did stay under the line. Meanwhile, Carolina went 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Pittsburgh, -120, under 6. Next matchup, it is going to be Sharks, Canadiens, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Montreal is -120 at home, total 6. Jake Allen for the Habs, Kaapo Kähkönen for San Jose. And even though Kaapo hasn't been great in the crease, the Sharks have played the Habs quite well in recent meetings. Out of their last 10 contests against each other, San Jose got the W 9 times. They also held Montreal to just 1.7 goals a game during that span. And speaking of Montreal, well, they're allowing more goals a game at home this year than most clubs in hockey. These guys are actually in the bottom 3 in home goals allowed this year. And no real surprise here, guys. The Canadiens are allowing over 33 shots on goal a game. And that's definitely bad news for netminder Jake Allen. He's 6-7 on the season, comes into this game with a losing record, and he also has a .362 goals against average. Now, injury-wise, Drouin is still out. Hoffman's questionable. Meanwhile, for San Jose, Jonah Gadjevich is questionable for them. When it comes to the total, San Jose's last 3 straight got over the line, 70% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, Montreal is 8-3 to the over in the Bell Center. I'm going to lean towards San Jose plus $1 over 6. Next matchup, Lightning Bruins, 7 o'clock East. Boston's -165, total 6 goals. Linus Ullmark for Boston, Andre Vasilevskiy for Tampa Bay. Now, Vasilevsky's got a goals against average quickly approaching 3. When it comes to covering the puck line, the Lightning's had a tough time covering the 1.5. These guys are cashing in on the puck line in just 30% of their road games. They're also facing a Boston club who's still undefeated in the Garden. These guys are 12-0 straight up in front of their home crowd, and they're leading the league in home scoring. David Pasternak's in the top 5 in the league in both goals and points. Meanwhile, Hampus Lindholm is a +20, which is actually second in the league in that stat. Now, when it comes to defensive play in this one, the Bruins are giving up fewer home goals than any other club in the league. Linus Ullmark's 13-1 on the year with a .935 save percentage. Now, total-wise, Boston went 60% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay saw 6 out of their last 10 road games stay under the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Boston -165, under 6. Next contest, it is going to be Islanders at the Flyers, 7:30 p.m. East. New York's -190 on the road, total 6 goals. Ilya Sorokin for New York, Carter Hart for Philly. And even though Hart's been serviceable, the Flyers are scoring fewer goals a game than any other club in hockey. Philly also lost their last 10 straight. They haven't gotten a win since November 8th. They're facing an Islanders team who's on a 4-game winning streak themselves. And in addition to that, these guys are currently in the top 5 in the league in fewest goals allowed. Ilya Sorokin's 10-5 in the net with a .933 save percentage. Meanwhile, defenseman Adam Pellick's a +12 when he's on a shift. Now, injury-wise, Kyle Palmieri is out for the Isles. Meanwhile, for Philly, Cam Atkinson's still out indefinitely for them. When it comes to total, the Flyers are 60% to the under at the Wells Fargo Center. Meanwhile, New York saw 3 out of their last 4 stay under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward New York. The Islanders, -190, under 6. Next matchup, it is going to be Ducks at the Predators, 8 o'clock Eastern puck drop. Nashville is the $2.25 favorite, total 6.5 goals. UC Saros for Nashville, Anthony Stolarz for Anaheim. And out of just 5 starts, Anthony Stolarz has a goals against average close to 4, along with an .890 save percentage. And no real surprise here, guys. Anaheim's allowing more goals a game on the road than any other team in the NHL. They're facing a Nashville club who won 4 out of their last 6. They're led by Philip Forsberg, who's got 19 points on the year. When it comes to defensive play, UC Saros has a winning record in the crease, along with a .905 save percentage. Now, injury-wise, Trenton is questionable for Nashville. Meanwhile, for Anaheim, Gibson and Klingberg are questionable for them. When it comes to the total, Anaheim saw overs recently against the likes of Seattle, St. Louis, and Florida. Meanwhile, Nashville saw 2 out of their last 3 get over the line themselves, throwing out that Detroit contest. I'm going to lean toward Nashville, -1.5, over 6.5 goals. Next contest, it is going to be Avalanche at the Jets, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Colorado's -135, total 6. Alex Gorgiev for the Avs, Connor Hellebuyck for Winnipeg. And even though Hellebuck's been solid, the Jets have had their hands full with Colorado in recent meetings. Winnipeg lost 7 out of their last 10 contests against the Avs, and they averaged only 2.7 goals a game during that stretch. Meanwhile, Colorado on the other side, they're winning 70% of their road games this year. They're also in the top 3 in the NHL in fewest goals allowed. Alex Gorgiev, he is 10-2 thus far in the year between the pipes, along with a .229 goals against average, .933 save percentage. Meanwhile, defenseman Eric Johnson's a +10 when he's on a shift. Now, injury-wise, McDermott, Kaut, and Bowers are still out for Colorado. Meanwhile, for Winnipeg, Stanley and Appleton are still out for them. When it comes to the total, Winnipeg's 8-1 of the under in the Canada Life Center. They're also 14-6 of the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, Colorado went 70% to the under in all of their road games. I'm going to lean toward Colorado, -135, under 6. Next contest, it is going to be Panthers at the Flames, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Calgary's -150, total 6.5. Jake Markstrom for Calgary, Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida. And even though Bobrovsky struggled, the Panthers' offensive lines can certainly score with the best of them. They're actually leading the league right now in offensive shots on goal. They're getting 40 pucks on net a game. Matt Tkachuk's in the top 10 of the league in assists as well as points. Meanwhile, Carter Verhaeghe has a team-best 12 goals on the season. Now they're taking on a Calgary squad on the other side of things who's having a tough time cashing in on the puck line. These guys are just 2-9 against the number in the Saddle Dome this year. The Flames have also lost their last 3 straight. They scored only 3 total goals during that span. Now, total-wise, 7 out of Calgary's last 10 meetings with Florida did get over the number. Meanwhile, Florida's 8-3 the over as the away team. I'm going to lean toward the Panthers, +1.5, over 6.5 goals. Next matchup, Capitals, Canucks, 10 o'clock East. Vancouver's -120, total 6.5. Thatcher Demko for Vancouver, Darcy Kemper for Washington. And even though Darcy's put up some solid numbers, he comes into today's game with just 7 wins in 16 starts. Meanwhile, as a team, the Caps dropped 6 out of their last 9. They're having a tough time getting on the board. These guys are in the bottom 5 in road goals. They're facing a Vancouver squad who can certainly score with the best of them. These guys are in the top 5 in goals per game. They're led by Bo Horvat, who's second in the league in goals. Meanwhile, Elias Peterson, he's a +10, and he also leads the club with 27 points. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Vancouver's last 7 got over the number, 68% to the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Washington saw overs against the likes of St. Louis, Florida, and Tampa Bay. I'm going to lean toward Vancouver, -120, over 6.5. Next and final matchup, it is going to be Kraken Kings, 10:30 p.m. East. LA's -1.25, total 6. Johnny Quick for Los Angeles, Martin Jones for Seattle. Now, Marty's having a great start to the year, one of the best in his career. He's 11-4 in 15 starts with a sub 2.6 goals against average. Meanwhile, as a team, the Kraken won their last 5 straight, and they went 8-2 straight up in their last 10. Seattle's currently in the top 10 in fewest road goals allowed. Meanwhile, offensively, these guys are in the top 5 in road scoring. Andrei Burakovsky's leading the team with 21 points. Meanwhile, Jared McCann has a team-best 8 goals. Now, injury-wise, Morgan Geekie is questionable for Seattle. Meanwhile, for LA, Gabe Vilardi is questionable for them. When it comes to the total, LA saw overs versus the likes of San Jose, New York Rangers, and Calgary. They're also 14-10 of the over for the entire season. Meanwhile, Seattle saw overs against the likes of the Ducks and the Sharks. I'm going to lean towards Seattle +105, over 6. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like Pittsburgh -120, under 6. San Jose +$1, over 6. We're 5-1 in our last 6 college basketball tier package bets on my website. I like Boston -165, under 6. New York Islanders -190, under 6. Nashville -1.5, over 6.5. Colorado -135, under 6. Florida +1.5, over 6.5 goals. Vancouver -$1.20, over 6.5. And with my next and final free pick, give me Seattle +105, over 6.